News organization that by April 2015 consists of 2,349 indigenous communities with 21 regional chapters, 107 local chapters, 3 wings organizations representing youth, women, and lawyers, and 4 autonomous bodies with the total of 15 million indigenous individuals. While they are from diverse geographical and cultural backgrounds, almost all indigenous peoples in Indonesia are facing common issues such as loss of control over their land, economic and social marginalization and exclusion, displacement, poverty, discrimination, and various human rights violations. About the half of articles in the UNPFII are dealing with the rights of indigenous peoples and issues faced by them in economic, social, and cultural aspects. While all the rights of indigenous peoples are as stipulated in the UNPFII are equally important and due attention and action needs to be taken to each of them. We would like to put a focus on the recognition and protection of those economic, social, and cultural rights as one of the current challenges faced by the indigenous peoples in Indonesia. In 2013, the Indonesian Constitutional Court has delivered a historical ruling number 35, recognizing the customary forests of indigenous peoples. At the same time, the government of Indonesia has been in process of creating one single map, and we believe that integrating the maps of indigenous territories is a key part of the process. By the end of 2014, up to 8 million hectares of indigenous territories has been mapped by AMAN and its network, of which 4.8 million hectares are submitted to the government of Indonesia to be included in the One Map policy. However, no concrete action has so far taken by the government of Indonesia to legally recognize the land of indigenous peoples and effectively protect them. Moreover, the lack of the free, prior, and informed consent of the respective indigenous communities in the project of public and private actors in another acute problem in Indonesia. The lands, territories, resources, and nature of indigenous peoples have been grabbed and violated over generations by such so-called development projects, whereby no FEIC was given or even asked. Instead, indigenous peoples who oppose such projects became subject of operation violence by the police as well as security guard, arbitrary arrest and detention, and criminalization by the authority. Against this backdrop, AMAN urged the government of Indonesia to immediately take into action the Constitutional Court ruling 35 on the judicial review of the law on forestry number 41/1999 to immediately enact the draft Act on Recognition and Protection on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, to legally and comprehensively recognize the land and territories of indigenous peoples, including those currently categorized not as such in the One Map project, to take all measures and establish mechanisms to guarantee that free, prior, and informed consent is given by the respective indigenous peoples before any project that affect their rights, lands and territories, livelihood, and any aspect to their lives can take place. To carry out a comprehensive mapping of the territories of indigenous peoples in the country will full participation and involvement of indigenous people recognized through the self-identification and through meaningful and effective participation and representation of indigenous peoples. We urge the government of Indonesia to establish a national commission on indigenous people to serve as a bridge between indigenous peoples and the state. I thank you, Madam Chair.